Okay, strap yourselves in for this one because we're going deep on some pretty dark material.
Yeah, this is well, this is heavy stuff.
It's all audio and it's rough.
Very aggressive.
The kind of language that really makes you question like humanity.
Exactly. And even before we get to the content itself, the file names are, well, a little strange.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, we've got one that's just Franco1.mp3, straightforward enough.
Right.
But then there's this Franco11 FOFO, 0125184607, 354191251, 4391267.mpp3.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, what is that? It's a string of numbers, like some kind of code.
So right off the bat, we've got questions like, who is Franco?
And what is the story?
What's the story here? Why these files? Why this intense, cryptic, like, vibe?
That's what we're going to try to unpack in this deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to decode the language.
Analyze the intent.
The intent, and think about, like, what it means that these recordings even exist.
I mean, it's fascinating, right? You got the power dynamics.
Yeah, the psychology.
The aggression.
The aggression.
The societal context.
Yeah, all wrapped up in these audio files.
Exactly.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
One of these clips uses a homophobic slur,
Right.
combined with a really nasty attack on someone's family. The casualness of it is it's really chilling.
You know, it's important to remember that slurs,
Yeah.
they're not just insults. They're meant to dehumanize.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, take this particular slur, for instance.
Okay.
It's rooted in this whole historical context of...
Whoa, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
That's fascinating because it's like these words, they
Yeah.
carry so much more than just the like surface level insult.
Absolutely.
Like centuries of prejudice, right?
Exactly. This historical baggage that they drag along with them.
Wow.
And this particular slur, it's meant to strip someone of their individuality,
Yeah.
reduce them to a stereotype. And that makes it easier to justify a further aggression.
That makes the repetition of some of these phrases we see even more disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Holstein,
Yeah.
Scheiss, Malal, and Du Pisser.
You keep hearing those.
Over and over.
It's not just random rage.
Right, it feels calculated.
It could be a way of asserting dominance. Like a verbal assault meant to just break someone down.
Yeah.
Or, and this is interesting too, it could reflect a limited vocabulary. Which, what does that tell us about the speaker, you know? About their mindset?
And here's the thing, we only have audio.
Right.
We don't have any visuals.
No context.
So are we hearing a heated argument?
Are we hearing a hate crime in progress?
Is this something else entirely?
It's like a puzzle with half the pieces missing.
We're missing so much.
You have to be careful not to jump to conclusions.
Right, of course, yeah.
But this lack of context,
Yeah.
it makes it all the more, well,
Intriguing.
intriguing, exactly.
Okay, and speaking of intriguing, can we go back to that file name?
Sure.
Franco 111 012518 4607 354 191 2251 1267.mp3.
Yeah.
Those timestamps, they're so specific.
They are.
That's not your typical voice memo, you know?
You're right to be suspicious.
Yeah.
That level of detail suggests specialized software. Possibly something used by, well, law enforcement.
Oh, wow.
There are programs out there that automatically generate file names with timestamps.
So these recordings, they could be evidence.
It's a strong possibility.
Wow, okay.
And there's another clue in one of the clips. The speaker mentions Polizei.
Right.
Maybe a misspelling of Polizei?
The German word for police.
Exactly.
Okay, this is getting intense.
Yeah.
We've got hateful language, potential evidence, and this whole mystery surrounding Franco.
Right.
But what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Well, it highlights this, this increasing permanence of digital footprints. Think about it. Anything you say or do online,
Yeah.
it can be recorded
Right.
and potentially used against you.
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
It's like the internet is a giant echo chamber.
Yeah.
And our words, they can just reverberate for years.
Exactly. Media literacy becomes crucial.
Yeah.
You need to analyze information, recognize bias, understand the consequences.
Yeah, this isn't just about Franco.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
These specific recordings.
No.
This is about the power of language. The
Absolutely.
responsibility we all have to use it wisely, especially online.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, welcome back to our deep dive.
Yeah, we're back.
We're not just looking at these recordings, but the whole landscape of online hate speech.
Right.
Like, what does it tell us about ourselves, about society?
And we uncovered some pretty big clues in part one, right? Like possible police involvement, coded language. This Franco character is at the center of a mystery that's getting deeper and deeper.
Deeper and deeper. And before we get too lost in the specifics, let's zoom out a bit, Think about you, the listener.
Right.
Think about how much time you spend online.
Oh, yeah, we're all online all the time.
All the time. Social media, forum, comment sections. It's easy to forget.
Yeah.
There's a real person
On the other side.
on the other side of that screen.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that sometimes.
And that's where the online disinhibition effect comes in. The online disinhibition effect.
Okay.
It's basically, have you ever noticed how people are more likely to say things online
Oh, yeah.
they'd never say to someone's face?
Absolutely, yeah. It's like they're hiding behind a mask or something.
Exactly. The internet gives them anonymity.
Right.
They
Right.
feel less accountable.
Like there are no consequences.
It's like a psychological shield. And when you combine that with the echo chamber effect of certain online communities,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
it creates this breeding ground for hate speech.
Yeah. It's not just about individual psychology then, right?
Yeah, right.
It's also about the groups we form online.
Exactly.
Like if everyone in a certain forum is using hateful language,
it starts to feel
it becomes normal. Normal,
Yeah.
acceptable.
And that normalization is dangerous.
Yeah.
It desensitizes us to the harm that this language can cause.
Right.
And don't forget, these online communities often reflect real-world ideologies and movements.
Meaning that the hate speech we see online can spill over into the offline world,
Absolutely.
leading to violence, discrimination, real-world harm.
Real-world consequences. It's sobering.
It is. It is. Which brings us back to our case study.
Okay.
We still don't know much about Franco
Right.
or the context of these recordings,
Right.
but there might be clues hidden within the language itself.
Yeah, good point.
Remember how the speaker mentions Polizei in one of the clips?
Right. Possibly a misspelling of Polizei.
The German word for police? And that led us to the possibility.
That these recordings could be evidence
Evidence.
in some kind of investigation.
Okay, so then the aggressive tone, the nonsensical phrases,
Yeah.
it takes on a whole new meaning, right?
It could be intimidation.
Oh, okay.
Threats. Using this hateful language as a weapon.
So it's less about expressing personal feelings then,
Right.
and more about power control over another person.
Which raises new questions.
Like, who is the target? What's the nature of this conflict?
Exactly.
It's like we've stepped into a crime drama,
It is.
and the language itself is our only evidence.
We're not just analyzing words on a page.
Yeah.
We're trying to understand the motivations, the power dynamics.
And remember, even though we're enjoying this puzzle,
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in it.
there are real people involved
Absolutely.
whose lives might be affected by these events.
A good reminder.
Yeah, we have to approach this with sensitivity.
For sure.
Okay, but we also had those YouTube transcripts to consider.
Oh, right.
That's a whole other layer to this mystery.
A whole other layer. They offer a glimpse into a different kind of online language.
Yeah, it's like heavily coded.
Full of jargon, insider speak,
It was like reading a secret message.
with abbreviations.
Only a select few would understand.
So what's the purpose of this coded communication? Is it just a way for members of this community to connect?
Right, to share information.
Yeah, or is it something, I don't know,
More sinister.
more sinister? Some of those phrases hinted at violence.
Yeah, aggression.
Hard to say for sure without cracking the code,
Yeah.
but coded language can be used to exclude outsiders,
Okay.
create a sense of belonging within a specific group.
So could these YouTube transcripts be connected to the audio recordings?
That's an interesting thought.
Could they be part of the same story?
Well, if we assume those recordings are part of an investigation,
Yeah.
it's not crazy to think investigators might be monitoring online spaces too.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that investigators might be tracking these coded messages?
It's possible.
Trying to decipher them to uncover threats.
Law enforcement agencies are using sophisticated technology these days.
Wow, that's both fascinating and a little unsettling.
It is.
It raises questions about privacy
The surveillance.
in the digital age.
My goodness.
But for our deep dive, it suggests a link, right?
A potential link.
Between the audio and the YouTube transcripts.
Yeah.
Like two pieces of a larger puzzle.
Two sides of the same coin.
And as we go deeper, we'll look for connections between these sources, right?
Exactly. Try to identify common threads
Pattern.
that shed light on the bigger picture.
It's like we're piecing together a digital jigsaw puzzle.
And the language is our guide.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
We're not just passively consuming information.
Right.
We're actively engaging with it.
We're thinking critically.
Analyzing, drawing our own conclusions.
We're like digital detectives.
following the trail of language
Wherever it leads us.
into the dark underbelly of the internet.
Where hate speech flourishes.
And coded messages hide secrets.
But we'll uncover those secrets together.
One word at a time.
All right, welcome back. And if this is your first time tuning in, you might want to catch up on parts 1 and 2 because this deep dive, it's a lot.
Yeah, we've gone pretty deep down the rabbit hole here.
We're decoding hateful audio. We're trying to figure out these cryptic YouTube transcripts.
It's like we've stumbled onto some kind of secret society.
Operating right under our noses.
It is, but that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating, right? We're not just reading a dry report. We're experiencing the investigation unfold.
Exactly. We're right there in the thick of it with you, the listener. And think about this for a second. Have you ever felt like you were missing the subtext of an online conversation?
Like there's this whole other layer of meaning you just couldn't access?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about feeling left out. This coded language, it can be used to build group cohesion, but it can also mask some pretty harmful activities.
Think of it like a digital handshake.
Okay.
That only certain people recognize.
So we've established that these YouTube transcripts are full of this coded language, but can we actually, crack the code?
Let's give it a shot. One phrase that keeps popping up is dominance.
Which means,
Dominance.
in English,
Right, and we've already seen that theme of dominance in the audio recordings. With the speaker using aggressive language, trying to exert control.
so are we talking about a group obsessed with power, and not just online dominance, but real-world power, too?
It's a strong possibility, and if so, that raises some serious concerns.
Like what?
About their methods, their goals. Are they willing to resort to violence, to intimidation? We have to consider the potential for real-world harm.
It's a chilling thought, but remember, we're still piecing together the puzzle. We got to stay focused on the evidence. What else jumps out at you from these messages?
Well, there's this other intriguing phrase, Krohn TRG Untergang.
Which means?
Crown TRG downfall, we don't know what TRG stands for.
Right.
But it could be a rival group, an organization.
So there's a power struggle going on. Two sides fighting for dominance.
Exactly, and it makes you wonder, what are they fighting for? Ideology, resources, control over a specific online space. This coded language might be giving us a glimpse into a whole hidden conflict.
It's like we're uncovering a digital war zone.
With the language itself as the weapon.
Yeah, and it reminds us that online spaces aren't just virtual playgrounds. They can be battlegrounds where real-world stakes are being played out.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got dominance, rivalry, a possible power struggle. What else can we decipher?
Another recurring term is visionaire.
Visionary.
Yeah, the transcripts praise this figure. They talk about their ability to see the future, to guide others towards a common goal.
Okay, so could this be like a cult-like leader? Someone using charisma and influence to manipulate followers?
It's worth considering. Cults often rely on these charismatic leaders. They present themselves as having special knowledge, insights.
And they use that authority to control their followers.
And think about how easy it is to manipulate people online.
Especially in these closed communities where everyone's echoing the same beliefs.
It's a recipe for exploitation.
So we've got dominance, rivalry, a potential visionary leader, the possibility of cult-like behavior. It's a lot.
It is a lot to process.
What do we do with all of this? Where do we go from here?
Well, I think the first step is awareness. We need to educate people about the dangers of online hate speech, how it can be used to manipulate and exploit.
We have to break the silence, shine a light on these dark corners of the internet.
It's like we're pulling back the curtain, revealing the machinery behind the scenes.
Exactly. And we need to support the victims?
Absolutely. They often feel isolated, alone.
They need to know they're not to blame.
That there are resources available to help.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in creating a safer online environment.
For sure.
And for you, the listener, that might mean speaking out against hate when you see it, reporting abusive behavior, just being more mindful of your own online interactions.
The internet can be an incredible tool for connection, for communication, but it's up to us to use it responsibly.
To create spaces where everyone feels safe and respected.
Well said.
This deep dive has been a journey, huh?
It has.
From disturbing audio clips to these coded messages, we've peeled back the layers of this mystery, revealing this complex web of power dynamics, hate speech, online manipulation.
And while we might not have all the answers, we've gained some valuable insights into the dark side of the internet.
the importance of critical thinking in this digital age.
Absolutely.
We hope this deep dive has encouraged you to think more critically about your own online experiences,
Be aware of the language being used, the motivations behind it,
the potential consequences of your own words and actions.
and remember, you're not alone in this. There are resources available to help you navigate this complex world.
To combat hate speech wherever you encounter it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.